This question is asking us to solve this inequality and graph it. And so let's go ahead and do that. Negative 5x add 3 is greater than 8. Now when you're solving an inequality, that's something with a greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to sign here instead of an equal sign. We take all the same steps. You just have to be careful when you're multiplying or dividing by a negative number because that flips things around. So let's go through and get x by itself, and we'll do so by subtracting 3. I'm left with negative 5x is greater than 8 subtract 3, which is 5. Perfect. I need to get x by itself, so I am going to get rid of that multiply by negative 5 by dividing by negative 5. Do it on both sides. Negative 5 over negative 5 makes 1, so it goes away. I'm left with x. Now careful here, I just divided by a negative number. When you're dealing with inequalities, anytime you multiply or divide by a negative number, that inequality flips. So instead of being a greater than, it flipped to become a less than. And then I have x less than or equal to negative 1, because that's what 5 divided by negative 5 is. Now take a look. I'm going to find x less than negative 1. Which graph represents that? Well, it's going to be an open dot because it's less than. If it was less than or equal to, it'd be a closed dot. Go over here and find the graph. That is x less than or equal to negative 1. Now, I can guarantee you when you have a problem like this on a test, it's going to have a case where you're dividing or multiplying by a negative number because they want to test whether you remember and understand that when you multiply or divide by a negative number, when you're working with inequalities, you have to flip the sign. So you notice here, here's what the answer is right here. It's this one. But you notice what they do have? They do have this one right here. So if you made the mistake and you didn't flip the sign and you got x greater than or equal to negative 1, you'll think you're all smart and mark this problem and you will get it wrong. So please, when you see inequalities in the back of your mind, you should be thinking, ooh, what if I have to flip it? What if I have to flip it? What do I have to flip it? Remember that and pay attention to it. It doesn't always happen. But if you multiply or divide by a negative number, that's when you need to flip.